Let's say I was always attracted by what is called spirituality, which is a word which is used a lot nowadays. And you know that when something is used too much, it has a tendency to lose its power. I think that sadness mixed with joy has something to see with spirituality. It is the fourth way. You have Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, and the Yoga of music, which is Margya Sangit. There is no mantra. Music is the mantra. And if you listen to music from the deepest part of yourself, getting inside yourself, building this temple inside, and receiving the music from that place, then music becomes something like a mandala, like a flower. It's something which is living, alive, really, like a bird or like a flower, and it comes to you with this flow of beauty, energy, truth, mystery. And when you receive in this state, deep state, this beauty, mystery, harmony, you become yourself, beauty, mystery, truth. I studied piano when I was a kid and I listened to a lot of music. I discovered jazz, and jazz was one of the key points of my evolution. I discovered through the percussions the countries where those percussions came from. And all those countries were Eastern countries, African countries, South American countries, where the music and the percussions are deeply related to strong traditions and sometimes spiritual traditions. Naturally, loving percussions, I met Indian tablas. Then I started to take some lessons in Paris with Krishna Govinda. He is no more, but he was my first teacher from Nepal. Then I traveled to Varanasi and I started to learn tablas with masters. Getting close to this Indian classical music, I also get deeply involved in Indian life. Try to open this spiritual space, mixing together mystical texts from Hinduism, Buddhism, Islam, Sufi Islam, Christianity, old animistic traditions which have beautiful texts, with Baroque music, Hindustani music, Iranian music, Armenian music, and on top of that, I mixed my voice, because I am a reciter, I mixed this beautiful text with this beautiful music.
Voilà mon âme dessaisie de toutes les choses créées. Au-dessus d'elle s'élever en une savoureuse vie, s'étend sur Dieu seul appuyé. Alors désormais on dira, chose qui m'est du plus grand prix, que mon âme à présent se voit sans appui et avec appui.
Music is not something which comes from nowhere and goes from nowhere. It has a motherland, and this motherland, it's a geographical motherland, but also spiritual motherland. By the grace of globalization, we are connected to all the musics of the world. This meeting, you can't stop it. It's like a pizza. The pizza, normally, it's done with tomato, cheese, eventually anchovies. Nowadays, you are putting ham, you're putting even truffles, you can even put gold, And I think, why not? The thing is that no one should forget what is the original pizza. Same with music. When I was the artistic director of the Festival of Sacred Music of Fez, which is the reference in the field of sacred music, I invited, the whole scene of the planet, from Ravi Shankar to Begum Parvin Sultana, to Jordi Savall, to Barbara Hendricks, to Gilberto. The whole world. It's not easy. It's not easy. I have my own experience in the Festival of Fez, not as a personal artist, but as an artistic director. For example, I invited a very beautiful program in which gospel, Christian gospel, was mixed with Qawwali from Pakistan. And it was beautiful. Just it came at one moment where the gospel singers, the American Christians, were asking the Pakistani to sing Alleluia. And they refused. They refused. Instead, that the Christians sang La ilaha illallah. You see? So, at some points, you have some resistance due to the cultural and religious bounds. There is not a word in Quran about music. Not a single word about music in Quran. So it means that Quran doesn't forbid music, because it doesn't say anything about music. If we follow the hadith, the sayings of the Prophet of Islam, and also the various rules along the history, from the point of view of the Sharia, three types of music are fully agreed. The song of the fighters for faith, okay, the song of the people who go for pilgrimage, and there is a song called Naat in Islam, which is it's like a prayer. It is accepted even in the mosques, except when you have very tough regime like the Afghani Taliban in the beginning of the 2000s, where I knew friend musicians who had to bury their instruments in their garden in order to save them from destruction. In some period of the Islamic rule in India, you have sultans like Aurangzeb who were very tough with music. But beside that, you have a lot of music coming around. So between the official saying and law as it is written by the Sharia and the reality, you have a lot of music. Music is in the center of Christianity. The Western classical music is born in the Mass. Saint Augustine, the great master, one of the masters of the Christian Church, says somewhere, "Who sings well, pray twice." You see? In Christianity, music takes a very, very large place, like in Jewish tradition. The music is very important. It's not so important in the synagogues, but in the daily life, in the religious life of the Jew. For example, during the Shabbat, there are songs for the Shabbat. In Hindu culture, a lot, because you have music everywhere. Saraswati, she is playing sitar. Shivaji is dancing, is the Lord of Dance. You have the Naradas and the Apsaras coming. Music is everywhere. Krishna, you have all these beautiful songs, the Bhakti, all the Bhakti songs, the dance. So Hinduism is full of music. When the Muslim invaders came to India, they met the music, and of course they loved it. And most of the Muslim Gharanas, they are Hindus who were converted to Islam. They were not born Muslims. If you take Vilayat Khan Sahab, if you take the great singers, the Amir Khan, etc. So, yes, it's true that they are Muslim by religion, and I think they are sincerely Muslims. But when they sing, they are not Muslims. Badi Ghulam Ali Khan said that if Indian classical music had been taught in the schools, maybe we Pakistan and India would never get separated. Nietzsche said God is dead, which is something which is really stupid, but anyway, he said that. If the reality of this death can have some consistency, for me it remains in this. God is dead, the statue has fallen down, and the pieces are spread all over the ground. And the composers are taking pieces of this, pieces of that, you know, a piece from the Middle Age, a piece from the Psalms, a piece from the Bible, and they are putting that together, mixing with different kind of music, different kind of inspirations, and from that they are creating their own thing. What was composed in the tradition of the church doesn't exist anymore, because if you take the Requiem is the Mass for the death. Normally it's something composed especially for a Mass, and the Mass, the duration of a Mass is 1 hour, 1 hour and a half. But in the 19th century, you had requiems from Verdi, for example, with 200 singers. So there is nothing to see now with the religious normal service. It's something which is called requiem, but it's a work of art which has got out of the premises of the church, and in fact of the premises of the religion. The big trend is toward rap, toward this techno. Rap is related to the presence of immigration, because it's a way of expression which put a lot of anger and violence, and it represents the expression of the frustration of a part of this population. You have this rap tendency, you have this techno tendency, which is more white, to the white public, if I may say. And you have also a third trend, which is this trend which goes to these big parties with 50,000 people, you know, with DJs in the sunset, like they do in Goa, or I don't know. It's not my field, you know. But there you have a kind of spirituality. Okay. They live it like this. They are together, you know, 50,000 people together, and sometimes the stage is decorated as a temple. You have seen probably that, you know, there is the sun. I mean, and there is a whole setting which it's supposed to push the people towards this sensation of that something spiritual is coming and uniting them together in one moment. I wrote this book which synthesized a little bit my relation to India, to music, to spirituality in the form of a novel. The rag which is studied in the novel is Malkons. Rag Malkons, which is a night rag, a very deep rag, which is related to Shiva, to Kali, and all this deep, dark energy. These Malkons open the universe inside the student and inside the listener. If you listen well to Malkons, it opens the doors of very powerful universe which are hidden in our mind.